Hi friends, happy Color Snack Sunday. So I know the new year is upon us and I'm sure you've probably are at this point tired of hearing about different resolutions and all that good stuff about the new year, but I actually wanted to introduce a little concept that maybe you've heard of it, maybe not, but it's keeping, the concept is to keep instead a word of the year instead of sticking to resolution. So I think there's a time and place for resolutions and like goal planning and setting, but I also think there is a benefit to keeping up with your word of the year. I think it helps with just kind of setting your intention so that whatever you do throughout the year is, the word that you picked is a reminder for you to stay in alignment with that. So today's tutorial is going to be about creating a fun little watercolor piece. So I'll be showing you how to create some of these, and then after we're done with that, we're going to paint or sketch our word of the year on top of these. So I just wanted to show you a couple of fun ideas that I've been working on as far as like how you can decorate your word of the year, like what kinds of colorful things you can include to it so that you have something pretty and nice to look at throughout the year with that one single word, and just kind of be mindful of the decisions and the actions you take. So these are a couple of the ones that I did, and then I'm going to show you how I created these ones. I think they're my favorite ones because they're just so happy and bright and colorful. So I'm going to start with the first one. Let's see, I'm grabbing a piece of paper. I'm using this Mozart Art Supply brush pen with a flat tip. I just think it's like super fun. Typically I like the pointy tip brushes, but for this exercise I like this one. So I'm going to start by adding some water. So squeezing a couple of drops of water onto my little piece of paper here. And of course you can pick any size. I just kind of like these smaller ones because they're adorable to me. So make sure you just spread this water in kind of in the center, and then leave the outside mostly dry. And then grab some yellow and just kind of start adding little drops of color. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of orange. So I'm making the middle part of this little piece with lighter and brighter colors, so like the yellow, so that whenever I write in my word, it kind of like pops against it. So I got, and this is the wet on wet technique. You wet the paper first and then you drop some color, and then after that I'm going to grab some of this fuchsia pink and just gonna add like little random brush strokes all over, and then I'm going to even come in and let these intermingle with the color that I previously added. Let's see, I'm gonna add some of this kind of purple color here as well. Gonna do some of this neon pink. I really like these palettes because they're cheap and they're fun. So fun to use and play. And there's so many different colors to pick from. Like, it's awesome. Highly recommend it. Let's see. Might add a little bit more of this pink here into these areas where it's still wet. Maybe a little bit of orange, just dropping in a little bit here. Gonna go back to yellow and yeah, so you see, because we started with the wet on wet technique, the middle is kind of soft. The color combinations are fairly soft. There's no like rigid edges, but then on the outside it kind of is, you can better see like the edges and it's more controlled, but it's still kind of fun. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry. Then in the meantime, I'm gonna work on the next one. Let's see, so I'm going to be doing it this way. So I'm basically gonna reproduce this little pattern here. I'm gonna start out with yellow. I'm just gonna kind of work my way across the palette just because it's easy and fun. So I'm just kind of basically making little squares or diamonds. If you look at them this way, they're kind of pretty much squares. And then going to slowly transition from yellow into orange, grabbing a darker orange, a little bit of red. It's just so fun to see these colors blend and bleed into each other for like a fun effect. Messed this one up a little bit, but that's okay. Getting back into my little diamonds. Let's see. Use some of this pink. I think the messier it is, the more fun and just playful, the more playful it looks. So while you do these little exercises, you can kind of start thinking about what word of the year you'd like to use for yourself. Maybe it's being more creative this year. I'm a huge proponent of that. Maybe it's being a little bit more confident and when you approach people or when you meet someone new, because that's super hard. I'm an introvert, so naturally it is harder for me, but it's even hard for extroverts. I have a lot of extroverted friends who say that it's just as challenging, so you know, it's just something that we all can work on. Maybe your word of the year could be resiliency, which for me it is. My word of the year is to be resilient. I just want to be able to basically bounce back and fast from like little failures or, you know, things that didn't work out the way I kind of wanted them. So yeah, let's see, that's my second one, and then let's do one more. And this one is kind of like just a bunch of brush strokes randomly put throughout the paper. And I'm not using too much water here. It's mostly like the brush is fairly dry, so there's not a lot of blending going on, because I just kind of want these brush strokes to stand out against each other so that you can see how they differentiate, but then together they kind of make a fun and colorful pattern. Let's see, I do need to clean this brush and add some pops of other colors. I really like this process. I find it very meditative. So, highly recommend it. It's just fun to play around, and you'll notice that even if I'm not trying for them to blend, you know, They still will end up blending just a little bit into each other, and then the result is like a fun little mix of colors. And a really fun and cool pattern. So kind of similar to this one where I just used different, you know, more colorful stuff. So like I included yellows, purples, greens, some oranges. But with I wanted to keep this palette a little bit cooler because I just love the color combination of blues and the pink. But you're welcome to try any other color combinations, just whatever works for you. So let's see, this piece is still drying, so I'm going to take a breather and dry it out and then come back and finish this off. Alright, so now that my piece is dry, I'm going to start adding the lettering to it. So I'm doing something super simple. You don't need to overthink it. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect like lettering or calligraphy or anything. It just can be super simple. And so one way to actually like add like a faux calligraphy type of look is to use a brush pen. So I'm gonna go over this with this Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. And I like that the brush on it is really nice and can help you add those thicker strokes. So I'm basically adding more pressure as I'm going down the page with the line. Heavier, a little thinner here. So you see how it looks like almost like a calligraphy type of brush pen look, but it's all just adding a little bit of a thickness to your downstrokes. Yeah, so this is my piece for Word of the Year. I hope this tutorial inspired you to pick up and create something fun, like a fun little watercolor pattern. And then I hope it inspired you to pick a word of the year and then have something just nice and pretty to look at as a reminder. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate you so much. Have a great and wonderful year.